Hey guys, how you doing? It's Nation here. So, yeah, I thought of another idea for the Horus Heresy starting a 30k army series. It occurred to me that obviously money is going to be a big factor in this because you're buying a lot of troops and stuff like that. And maybe some people don't understand about what they're buying sometimes. And I don't mean that in any sort of derogatory sense. It's more of a case of you may have seen like different types of armor on, say, like the Forge World website, and compared to like the Battle for Calth or Betrayal of Calth Marines, there is different kinds of armor. So I wanted to just run you through which ones are available and what the sort of background is behind them and stuff like that. Just so you're aware. And you can make your own choice then on what you want to do, whether you want to go for like Forge World, or whether you want to go with Games Workshop, just to save you some money. It depends what you fancy, really, basically. So let me explain a little bit first about Power Armor, what it is. So basically Power Armor is plated metal. On the inner workings of it, there's basically like muscle fiber bundles and stuff like that wrapped around it all. So basically when the person puts it on, it's supposed to like basically enhance your strength, so it's actually going to make you stronger by putting it on, because like the servos and muscles and everything will work for you. So when they put these on, even though the starters are like generally nearly superhuman in strength, they basically get even stronger when they put their armor on. Now, the backpacks as well, from what I told on Old Fluff, apparently it's some sort of little nuclear reactor sitting on their back, basically, that powers it. So that's what the backpack's for. It doesn't really hold a lot, it's just basically like it powers the actual armor itself. There are bits in stories where you hear like the backpack sort of shut down or something like that, and basically the Space Marines have to use a hell of a lot of strength to actually get the armor to move. So some of them will just lock up and they can't actually do anything inside their armor. So now, like all things technology-wise and stuff like that, basically Power Armor has gone through stages of evolution. So when it first came out, it was on a group of kind of proto Space Marines. They were called the Thunder Warriors. They basically they didn't have full plate. It was kind of like on the shoulder pads, the chest, like forearms, legs. I'm not sure if they had a backpack or not, I don't know. And they had these weird sort of helmets with sunglasses on, from what the pictures show. Yeah, if you ever see it, that's what it is. If you ever confused, like, what the hell is that? That's basically before the Space Marines came around. So yeah, there were Thunder Warriors. The Thunder Warriors didn't have as many enhancements as the Space Marines did. They weren't as tried and tested, and they weren't as fully developed as the Space Marines were. The Space Marines were kind of like the pinnacle point. They're like, okay, yeah, we got this. So that was Mark 1, the Thunder Warrior armor. I think it was called Thunder Armor, I'm not sure. Then you had Mark 2, which is this one over here. So the way I always distinguish Mark 2 is you'll see this sort of face grill here, and they have like this Knight Rider style vision slit at the front for the eyes. You'll also see that it's very plated all over the place. So instead of like panels, it's a lot of plates basically. Looks a bit more archaic. You see the backpack's kind of this old style big chunky thing at the back as well. And just showing as point of reference, the guns are a bit more archaic. They look a bit more brutal. I think they look kind of cool as well. But that is Mark 2. That's Crusade era armor. So that was like the first stuff. Basically when the Space Marines kind of went out into space and stuff like that. Then you had Mark 3, which is this stuff over here. Now this stuff's a bit more bulked out, a little bit more chunkier. From what I was told in Old Fluff, was this was designed for boarding actions, so they basically up-armoured all the front plates and everything like that, and just made it tougher. With this one, I always class this, that in the rules you may have heard me say about Void Hardened Armour. I always classed it as this, because it's the bulkiest out of the lot, out of the Power Armour range I tend to find. So I always classed it as this. So if any part or any Mark Armour is going to have any special rules for it, it'll probably be Mark 3, which is this. I've completely forgotten what it is. Crusade Armour. Oh, I can't remember what it's called. Anyone who knows, you know what it is. It's Mark III. It's something Mark III battle plate. Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember what it's called. My brain is just racking around trying to remember what it is now. Iron Armour. I think that's what it's called. Iron Armour. Maybe wrong, but Crusade Armour, Iron Armour. I think that's it. So yeah, Mark III, Iron Armour. So then we're going to move on to Mark IV. Now this is what you see in Betrayal at Calth. Mark IV is supposed to be kind of like the most common or the most advanced at the time of like the Great Crusade and everything like that. So this is what generically people are starting to be outfitted with. So this is probably one of the most common design patterns. It's very similar to the stuff you see in 40k. What you'll mainly notice is the difference is the knee pads are squarey, and you kind of got a beaky helmet, but it's got these slits down it. I always like this because it looks kind of a bit more avian and predatory, if that's even a word. But I always liked Mark IV. I was always going to go with Mark IV because it wasn't supposed to be bulky or anything like that. It was supposed to be like the most efficient out of the lot at the time. So yeah, that's Mark IV. That's the most common thing. You'll find that in the Betrayal at Calth. You can get that from Forge World as well. It's completely up to you. Just to mention the other two, you can only get from Forge World at the moment. You can't get it from Games Workshop. So this style armor is the only one you can get from Games Workshop, excluding Terminator Armor. That's a whole other story sort of thing. I'll try and cover that because there's actually 2 types of Terminator Armor. 3 or 4 depending on if you're going Legion specific. Now I've basically got a skipper mark of armor here, Mark V. And the reason why is the simple fact there's I'm trying to show everything from one book, and I couldn't find any pictures of Mark V in this book. Mark V was supposed to be basically like the Horus Heresy, I think, had started, depending on your timelines and how you want to work it out and stuff like that. It might have been around beforehand. Basically, they were running out of standard just battle suits that they could just equip people with, so they had to kind of maintain them and bodge them together, basically. I know in Deliverance Lost, the Raven Guard book, they talk about that, and they talk about how they've had to bolt on tank parts onto the armor to make it work and stuff. So what you'll see is if you ever see those little rivets and bumps and stuff like that, from what I understand, they're tank rivets, and they're bolted onto the armor to just reinforce it. What you'll also find as well, this might be going a bit far into it, but in the storyline, the traitors were like already equipped with guns with like new ammunition that could basically penetrate all this stuff, whereas the loyalists didn't have that. They didn't know what was going on, basically. So basically, all their armor was getting shredded, whereas the traitors' armor wasn't getting damaged that much. They were still taking a hit, but they weren't taking a hit as much. So I think Mark V might be wrong on this one. Was designed a little bit to try and reinforce that. To be fair, the best book I find about reading about sort of Mark IV onwards is Deliverance Lost, because there's quite a good little section on it about different types of armor, which kind of leads me nicely onto this bit, Mark VI, which you can find in GW kits. This is otherwise known as Beaky. Deliverance Lost, again, is like the first time I think this is ever kind of brought up. It's called... Oh, sorry. Mark IV is called Maximus Pattern Armor, if you're not sure. 5 is Heresy Armor, I think it's called. And 6 is called Corvis Armor. Basically because it was designed or named after the Raven Guard Primarch, Corvus Corax. This was designed to be more efficient, apparently more of a silent running, so it was much more equipped for stealth. But I think the Raven Guard were one of the first legions to get like a delivery of them, so a lot of them had this Corvus armor, basically. There's not really much to say. As you can see, it's got the stud bits, which kind of follows on from, you even see it Mark IV, Mark V. The one thing I find always distinguishing about Mark VI is there's no knee pad, it's just a straight up. Most of it's the same. Beaky helmet's a bit different. So it looks a bit more slimline, but yeah, that's Mark 6. You can get that in GW. I don't think they do entire kits of it though, so you might have to kind of bodge it or do some eBay shopping or trade with your friends or something like that to get that. Forge will do it as well, so if you do want to, you can get hold of something like that as well. There are other types of armor, like I call it Artificer Armour, the people call it Artificer Armour. My friend, when we were younger, used to call it Artificer Armour, which I just generally got confused. I was like, what are you talking about? Basically, if you see something that's a little bit sort of off balance, it's not the same as this sort of stuff, that's probably Artificer Armour, as I said, that's how I pronounce it. And that's usually, in game terms, you get a 2-up save for it, sort of thing. All of these power armor stuff, 3-up saves. In game terms as well, just to give you a bit of rules. The only one, as I said, Mark 3 is I class as Void Hardened Armor, so you get reroll saves on blast and template weapons that you get saves on. So yeah, that's I think it's mentioned in No Fear, the Ultramarines book, that they're using another type of armor, which might be the Mark 7, which is what you see in standard Space Marines. In 40k, so I mean this is kind of like the jump really, because you get, this is Mark 6 and this is just coming around in 30k. All that's happened is they've only gone to Mark 7 in 40k. There's actually a Mark 8 with like a big gorget thing around there, so there's only like been 2 like developments in 10,000 years, so you can kind of see how things slow down on that, on the armor and like the technology production basically. So yeah, that's my little bit on Power Armor Space Marines. So if you weren't sure on what you kind of want to do in regards to army building and stuff like that, it gives you hopefully a little bit of an idea of what kind of theme and what you kind of want it to look like, and have a bit of a fluff background behind it. I'm going to do a video hopefully on the Terminator Armor. There's only 2, so it will probably be a kind of short one. And we'll have a look into it. Thank you for all the kind words and everything like that. I know a lot of people are asking for more rules stuff. I will go over the rules. I'll probably go over Elite first before I go over HQ, because you can do quite a lot with Elites in 30k. I think it's kind of interesting. I might do HQ last actually, just to give you an idea of what you can run with. Or maybe probably Lords of War last, to be fair. But yeah, thank you for all the kind words. I will endeavour to get round to doing a video on everyone's suggestions. I know there's one about building and showing you how to build a 30k list. I think it's a bit early stages for that at the moment, but we will get round to it eventually. There will be a point where we actually design a list, and sort of show you what we think, how it could be improved, how it could not be improved, and maybe we'll do a few other lists and show you what it looks like. Hopefully I'll have enough light knowledge models so I can actually show you what like a 2,000 point list looks like. So thanks very much for watching, guys. Stay tuned for more videos, they'll be on their way soon, and I'll catch you all in the next one. See you later, bye bye.